Hello and welcome to the Two Raccoons in a Trench Coat podcast. I'm your co-host, some guy with a microphone. Today, I'm joined by two very special individuals. Today's host with the most.
I'm some guy with a hat. Happy whenever it is you're listening to us. Thank you for joining. And today we are joined by my friend Josh. Josh, how's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. Having a good day. It's a nice evening so far.
Yeah, so far. I'm sorry to let you know that that's probably going to get derailed very fast as we get into this episode.
Oh boy.
So, we have another topic for y'all today, and as always, we have trivia to introduce it. So, Josh, how trivia works, and for those listening along with us, I have 5 questions here about a specific topic. You're going to have 60 seconds to answer those 5 questions. Your time starts after I ask the first question, and you can pass if you don't know to save on time. Some guy with a mic is going to step out, so he's not going to be listening in to the questions to give him an unfair advantage. Actually, I'm not going to ask you if you're ready. I think we're just going to go with it. How about that?
I'm gonna leave now.
Yeah, sounds good.
Leaving now.
All right.
Almost there. Goodbye. Oh, I should grab my phone just like last time. Let me know when I can return. Alright, now goodbye. Have a good one. Have fun.
All right. Let's get into this. What video game franchise has claimed to have over 87 bazillion guns?
Oh, Borderlands. Borderlands, easy.
The main Borderlands franchise takes place on a planet called Pandora. What is the name of its moon?
Ooh. I'm blanking on it. I don't know. I'm gonna say Triton, even though I know that's wrong.
What main game in the franchise was the next to be released after Borderlands 2?
Borderlands the pre-sequel, of course.
How many
Which actually
sirens can there
only came out on the older generation of consoles too. I remember that was not on PS4 and Xbox One at the time. That was only on PS3.
Yeah, we'll get into that. How many sirens can there be at one time in the Borderlands universe?
Isn't it like 3 or 4? Maybe 5.
Fill in the
I'll say
take
5.
5 as your answer. Okay. Fill in the blank. What weapon manufacturer is named in the quote, "If it took more than one shot, you weren't using a blank"?
I'm going to go with Jacobs with that one.
Time. Okay, how do you think you did?
Mid. I'm going to say a strong mid performance.
All right, I'll let him know he can rejoin. Yeah, I'm going to be a little lenient on your time here. You were a bit over.
Oh boy, time to rejoin my favorite podcast.
Oh, you listen to a podcast? Wow.
Alright, I'm here. Alright, so special guest Josh, how do you think you did?
Mid. Definitely mid.
You know, that's a pretty solid answer. A lot of people feel like they did worse than that.
All right, Josh's time has been recorded. Josh, feel free to stay on the call. Just don't give any hints. Some guy with a mic, are you ready?
Can I be honest with you?
Yes, please.
My tummy hurts.
Oh, join the club. Join the club.
So, let's do it. Let's do this.
All right.
Tummy ache or no tummy ache, I'm a brave little soldier.
All right. What video game franchise has claimed to have over 87 bazillion guns?
That would be Call of Duty.
The main Borderlands franchise takes place on a planet called Pandora. What is the name of its moon?
Claptrap's Fantastical Getaway.
What main game in the franchise was the next to be released after Borderlands 2?
Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
How many sirens can there be at one time in the Borderlands universe?
There can be 2 sirens.
Fill in the blank. What weapon manufacturer is named in the quote, if it took more than one shot, you weren't using a blank?
That would be Smith and Wesson.
Time. All right. How do you feel like you did?
I think I got the sirens question right.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's get into the answers. Let me finish writing out yours and your time. I think you got that one right. And your time is that. All right. Question 1. What video game franchise is claimed over to have 87 bazillion guns? I really tried to give you a freebie here, Cam, because I know you don't play these games. You said COD. Josh said Borderlands. It is Borderlands.
Thank you.
Yep. Question number 2. The main Borderlands franchise takes place on a planet called Pandora. What is the name of its moon? Some guy with a mic, you said... did you really say Claptrap's Magical Getaway for number 2?
Fantastical Getaway.
Fantastical Getaway. All right. Josh said Triton. The answer is Elpis. Elpis. I think it's going to play a main part in the story of the next game. So.
Yeah, I think you're right with that, Andrew.
Yeah. All right. 1-0. Our guest is in the lead. What a surprise. Number 3.
This has never happened in the history of the podcast.
Yeah, what's going on? Number 3, what main game in the franchise was the next to be released after Borderlands 2? Some guy with a mic, you said the pre-sequel. Josh, you said the pre-sequel. That is correct. 2-1.
We take ones. We take ones.
That might be all you're getting. Question number 4, how many sirens can there be at one time in the Borderlands universe? Some guy with a mic, you said 2. Josh went back and forth on this one, 3, 4, then settled on 5. The answer is 6.
Oh.
That's pretty close, though. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, pretty close.
One off.
All right, final question. Some guy with a mic, you need this to tie it up. How confident are you that you're going to be able to do this?
I'm not.
Okay. Pretty prophetic, if I were to give you any hints. Question number 5, fill in the blank. What weapon manufacturer is named in the quote, if it took more than one shot, you weren't using a blank? You said a real weapon manufacturer, some guy with a mic, Smith & Wesson. Josh went with Jacobs. The quote goes, if it took more than one shot, you weren't using a Jacobs.
Sweet.
As always, our guest wins trivia this round. 3, 2, 1. Congratulations. I know this is all that you've ever hoped to accomplish. How are you feeling right now, Josh?
I feel fantastic, honestly. I didn't know I was going to be playing trivia, but I think just by being caught off guard by trivia and then doing said trivia, I'm quite pleased with my performance.
Yeah, we don't really tend to tell our guests what they're getting into, do we?
No, we don't. Where's the fun in telling them anything?
Yeah. All right. Our topic for today is the Borderlands franchise. If you're unaware of what the franchise is, Borderlands is a first-person looter shooter with its main claim to fame being quite literally billions upon billions of unique weapons that you can use. It is often recognized as the first looter shooter, even though there's a game called Hellgate London that came out in 2007, 2 years before the first Borderlands. But really, Borderlands is what kicked off this genre of video games. So, I mentioned before we started, I've got 2 main categories to go over, gameplay and story. What are you guys feeling like jumping in with to start?
Let's start where all great stories begin, with the mechanics.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right. On the surface, the gameplay is actually pretty typical to start. Like, you have a weapon and you can shoot it. However, you play as what's called a Vault Hunter, And the first game, you have 4 options to choose from. The second and the prequel had 6, and the third had 4 again. Each of the Vault Hunters have unique individual action skills, which are abilities like Josh, throw out 2 random Vault Hunters we can discuss real fast.
Ooh, let's talk about Axton from Borderlands 2, and then
Okay.
how about Flack from Borderlands 3?
I knew you were going to say Flack. Axton, his action skill is he can throw a turret on the ground or anywhere, I think with an upgrade, it can stick to any surface. And a lot of his skills that you can spec into as you level up focus on grenade damage, weapon damage, reload speed, that kind of stuff. Flack is what's called a Beastmaster, and he's actually unique to where he has different pets that you can choose to bring into combat with you, and they can buff you in small ways like more reload speed, a little bit more health regen. Borderlands 3, he's one of the 4 Borderlands 3 Vault Hunters, and Borderlands 3 introduced where you can choose different versions of your action skill. So one of Flack's is Fade Away, where he can turn invisible. All of his shots that he fires for a short amount of time become instant critical hits. Super overpowered for damage in that way. But all of the Vault Hunters have different abilities, different skills, to where no one plays the same game as anyone else. So, like, if all 3 of us decided to start a new playthrough at the same time, we are all going to get drastically different experiences. And part of that comes into the quote-unquote billions of guns. And it's not an exaggeration because it is procedurally... I'm really getting into like a just like, hey, let me tell you about all this stuff. This is not a discussion yet, is it?
I'm listening.
So let me save you while you're drowning. You know Handsome Jack, right?
Oh, I have him in the story, but yeah, we can talk about Jack for a second.
Wonderful. What was the placeholder name for Handsome Jack during the game's development?
Oh, I don't know this. Let's
but
go
you're the
with...
expert.
Look, I have 750 hours in BL3. I've only got like 50 in BL2. So, let's go with Kiddo.
Okay, that's actually
pretty
not
good.
a terrible answer. Josh, do you have any idea what Handsome Jack's placeholder name was during development?
I will say Caring Chad.
Both were very close actually. The answer was Handsome Jack.
Okay.
Handsome Jack was never intended to be his full release name, but the development team just liked it, so they used it.
That's pretty clever,
really
honestly.
like that.
I think, yeah, with the mask and stuff too, I guess that does make sense because it's I don't know, it's a very direct name for his character design.
Yeah. Isn't the pre-sequel Jack's story of how he got the handsome prefix to his name?
Something with a grenade.
Yeah, because you're all part of you're not necessarily Vault Hunters, I think, in the pre-sequel, but it's more of the crew that he assembled. Because I know Wilhelm makes an appearance. I loved Jack's doppelganger too in pre-sequel, Timothy. I think he's a great character in the franchise.
Yeah, he shows up again in the first DLC of BL3.
Yeah, that was the it was the bank, not the casino heist.
Jackpot. Yep. Yeah, do we want to just touch on story while we're here? I mean,
sure.
It feels like okay. So, Borderlands 1. Josh, have you played BL1?
Yeah, I've played all of them. I'll be honest, Borderlands 1's actually the only one I haven't beaten. Along with beaten Tiny Tina's.
Yeah, I don't blame you for not beating BL1, the story is almost non-existent.
Yeah.
It's very like cut and dry. Hey, go here, do this. Why? I don't really know. Granted, I only did one playthrough of it. I enjoyed it, but like, I don't know. There's just something that's missing there that they really perfected in BL2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I
BL,
don't know, for me in the franchise, like Borderlands 2, that was the first game I played, and it was very special when I first played it because it caught me off guard. It was like, I
mhm.
was, yeah, like I think still in middle school, maybe early high school. I went to GameStop and like kind of saw the cover art, and I saw that it had split screen co-op, and I have two younger brothers, and we played games all the time. So I was like, oh, this is cool. I could play it with my brother. And then I had no idea how good of a game it was going to be. Like it totally caught me off guard, especially with like just this the storyline was phenomenal. I was like the first time I've really been like hooked by like all the plot points of a first person shooter, and then it was just supported by just really good addictive gameplay. It just
Yeah,
totally caught me off guard at the time.
yeah. I was aware of the franchise. Like you'd see YouTube thumbnails, and I was always be like, "Oh, that art style looks really interesting," because the entire franchise is entirely cell shaded. Uh, really beautiful. But I never played it until BL3 was announced, and they put the Handsome Collection for free on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked it up, and I had BL2 in the pre-sequel, and I fell in love with the franchise. Like, I don't think I've put more time into a video game franchise, uh, except for this franchise, uh, than like COD Zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it happened fast. The gameplay is so addicting, partly because every single playthrough you're gonna get something different. Like the bazillion guns is a little bit of an exaggeration, but not by much. I think the numbers here, BL1 and 2 came in, you could get tens of millions of combinations for weapons.
Mm-hmm.
BL3, it jumped up to 1 billion combinations, and I think they're quoting for BL4, it's going to be 30 billion.
So crazy.
So, I hope you don't want to do too many God roll farms because, my God, I'm doing 2 in BL3 right now, and I still haven't gotten the weapons. And it's been out
Yeah.
for like 6 years.
That's always been one of the, because I mean, all the combinations of the guns, the way that they play with like projectile speed, spread, and like damage drop off, like all the different guns can handle so differently, and the way you have to approach the game can be very different from like your typical first person shooter. I mean, like some of the guns don't even really feel like guns, especially when they mess with like elemental damage and like some of the energy damages, and then like don't even get me into like Torg versus Jacobs. It's just crazy how they've have like such distinct personalities and ways of handling that all the weapons like kind of function with in the game. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think a big part of like what makes the game so fun is trying to find like that one gun that you really click with for a while and one that you like using. I think that's what's always kept me coming back.
Yeah, for sure. And like the one manufacturer I absolutely cannot stand is TDR.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have your low-ish damage in the assumption that yeah, when you're finished with this magazine, you're gonna throw your weapon and it's gonna explode or do more damage. Well,
Yeah.
that's just another like uh, sort of mini game you have to play just to get the same amount of damage as like a Vladoff weapon. It's like no, I don't want to do that. I'd much rather prefer to have a Vladoff weapon, send 70,000 bullets downrange at a time, and be good.
Mm-hmm. Or even like I get like preferences based on not just the manufacturer, but like manufacturers and then weapon categories. Like I really like, because I mean Hyperion has really low recoil and like tight spread. I really
Mm-hmm.
like the shotguns that you can find for them. TDR, I actually really like the SMGs, especially the ones that like will walk around and stuff on their feet and like act as turrets. Like I love like the little gimmicky stuff with them. And then like Jacobs, I mean, the revolvers and the sniper rifles are iconic. Some of the rifles that they had in Borderlands 2, and I think they still had the rifles in 3 too. Like especially at the wind up ones, like there's just so much creativity there. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I'm thinking back now of why I don't like TDR so much, and it's because I'm a Moe's main in BL3. And her entire thing is ammo upkeep and just not draining your mag, and it just does not flow with the TDR uh, gameplay loop.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
one that I really like, which is the needle gun, which was
Mhm.
introduced in the ultraviolet raid, which each bullet debuffs the enemy and they take more damage by a specific amount up to a specific amount. I do enjoy that one a lot.
Yeah. I
But
think you make a great point too about how like the character that you play as really affects like your perception of the weapons in the game. Because like my personal favorites, like if I had to pick one, would be Vladoff assault rifles, and that's solely because Borderlands 2, Axton had an ability to increase fire rate, and those guns would
mhm.
just absolutely shred.
Yep, I 100% agree. Roland in BL1 was the assault rifle guy. So it's actually kind of interesting. BL1, they are much more designated. Like they have individual skills for weapon types. Like Roland was the assault rifle guy, Brick was the
Mhm.
shotgun and rocket launcher, so on and so forth. But after that, and like you said, Axon a little bit with his assault rifle damage skill. Uh, but really, you can make any build viable in BL3 if you wanted to
Mhm.
do a melee. Well, I know melee Flak and melee Amara for sure. I think maybe even a melee Zane would work. Um, but it's all about your how you build your skills, what action skill you want. But the biggest part of that are your class mods and your stats that roll on non-weapon rolls. Yeah, explaining that just a little bit. You have weapon slots where you can shoot things. You usually have grenade mod slots that are like this grenade bounces a couple times before it explodes, or you get to get a grenade that explodes on impact. That's where you would slot in your grenade slot. And then you have your shields and uh, your class mods and your artifacts. The class mods and artifacts are yet again even more game changing to how you change your play style because it will change up some of your action skills, some of your uh, character skills, and roll with more stat options as well. The grind to perfectly min max BL3 is absolutely insane.
Yeah. That sounds about right. I mean, I think one of the interesting things that I thought with Borderlands 3, and I think it's changing in 4 too, and they did this in 2, is they would add more Vault Hunters in the post-launch content, but the way that
Yep.
they developed the characters in 3 was they just wanted to make the 4 base characters a lot more complicated and have a lot more differing paths, which could make it extremely difficult to like min max a character just based on how many options you have and different directions you can go with where you take your character.
Well, they're doing that with 4 as well. Like
Oh
they are
boy.
introducing 6 Vault Hunters in this game. Um, but have you seen the skill trees that they have shown off?
I've not seen the skill trees. I've seen like some of the character trailers and some of the marketing with the backstories, but I have not actually seen just how the skill trees function.
Each character has over 100 skills that you
Oh
can
my
choose
gosh.
from. This is going to be
That's
such a.
insane.
It is. Like, BL3 felt almost perfect in that regard because at launch, I'm pretty sure every Borderlands game you have a level cap of 50. So you can capstone one tree and get about halfway down another. That feels like a pretty balanced build.
Hmm.
However, as the life cycle of the game goes on, they increase the level cap every so often, and usually it ends up being around level 72. That gets you to at least 2 capstones and a decent way into another tree. I think BL1, you could literally get every single skill in the game, so that's an outlier here.
Mm-hmm.
But with the development of 4, they made it explicitly clear that they only want you to get 1 capstone. And what they're doing is you can have multiple capstones per tree now, but you can only choose one. It's like an individual slot that you have to select. You can't, like, even if you get to a bottom of another tree, you're not able to pick another capstone without unequipping the current one you have. So
No,
you're not going to... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I do like how they push you to do that. I mean, every time you do level up, every time you do pick an ability, you do have to weigh the pros and cons of it. I mean, not to knock on them, but it's not like a Ubisoft game where you just kind of blindly pick something and like, oh, it doesn't matter. By the end of this, I'm going to have everything anyways.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, literally. I was thinking the Origins and Odyssey skill trees that they had. Yeah, I think Gearbox has always done a really good job at how they approach that and how you can build out the characters. And I think with the universe of Borderlands and stuff too, I mean, you can't really like break your character in a lot of ways because the world's so chaotic and the weapons can be so, I mean, like the infinite pistol would be considered a broken gun in any other game, but that's just purely how Borderlands is.
Yeah, I really like that point. To like, you can make this as wacky of a character as you can, and it still fits in this universe. Like, I think one of the major rumors that I still believed up until like 2 hours ago when I was like making sure I was right on this, lots of people think that BL1 started development as a Mad Max game. That's actually not true.
I've always heard that, and I do remember, like, even with the cel-shaded aesthetic, if you remember when Borderlands was first revealed, there was a whole Game Informer edition focused on it, and the cel shading was not a thing. Like, it was a much more like realistic approach, which totally invokes that Mad Max aesthetic. So I'm curious to see what you learned.
Yeah, no, that was exactly it. I think that's where the rumor stemmed from, because originally that article, it was before they changed the art style, and they changed the art style because they got feedback where it's like, oh, there are a ton of like futuristic shooters on the market right now. It's not going to stand out from any of the others. Even though I would beg to differ, the gameplay and the mechanics do speak for themselves. However, I do see someone looking at it from the outside and just seeing the art style of like a drab stereotypical game might not give it a second thought. The art style is very drawing to the eye. That's what first caught my attention.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting with how they pivoted the first one, because I mean, Borderlands 1, that color palette is still very brown and drab, which would indicate this like shift to like the cel shaded graphics. And I feel like Borderlands 2, that was the art style, so they were able to lean into it right from development, which really helped it shine.
Yeah, there are still some like really brown and somewhat dull areas, but you get into like the caverns with the glowing crystals. You get to where you fight Bunker, and it's a beautiful skybox. Like, the game is gorgeous. And it's, what, 13 years old now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly, I mean, the aesthetics made them age very, very well. I think, art direction always trumps graphics.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Some guy with a mic. I know you don't play these games, but are there any other looter shooters that you have played? I think Destiny's, I think its biggest competitor in that regard.
I'm going to be super honest with you. So I have played Borderlands 1, and I played Borderlands 2, and I played a bit of Borderlands 3. I never completed 1, as many people have not, from what I'm starting to understand. Mostly because of the fact that I was bad at them, and enemies didn't have a lot of tethering in Borderlands 1, So if you pissed off an enemy in too big of an area, it could follow you back to wherever you were respawning from. And then I get frustrated and I leave.
Yeah, I
because
remember that.
I'm not good at them. Looking at you, Nine Toes Elite Goons.
You didn't even make it past Nine Toes?
I killed Nine Toes and took out all 3 of his balls, thank you. I'm just saying they were my first major hurdle.
Okay.
When it comes to popular looter shooters, so Destiny, I don't have a love-hate relationship. I have an entirely hateful relationship with it. Mostly because it took the it took like the FPS looter shooter style thing and it added mechanics to it, some similar to like MMOs from Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, etc., etc. And it's the most frustrating thing in the world because I come from the MMO side of games. I was a World of Warcraft addict from Burning Crusade up and through Dragonflight, which, if you don't know, is over a decade of just giving Blizzard my soul. To go, and then one of my friends from World of Warcraft was like, bro, you gotta try Destiny. It's amazing. Do you like Borderlands? And I was like, kind of. They're like, it's better. I'm like, okay. You like World of Warcraft, right? Yeah. It's kind of like that, but like, dude, think of it with guns. I play a hunter. I already have guns. I'm not that worried about it. Jumping into the space that is Destiny, and you have a bunch of people who, and this is not to be offensive to those who enjoy FPS and looter shooters, there's a very particular style of game you have been led to play and enjoy. Now throw in boss mechanics that wipe the whole squad if somebody messes up.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of time spent in raids in Destiny was just aggravating. I don't know if any of you have ever played any of the MMOs like World of Warcraft, but there's something called LFR, looking for raid, where it was like, hey, if you don't know mechanics, you come here, you learn them, now you go into a raid with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny didn't really do that super well, and so it was just frustrating, and it was phenomenal. But looter shooters that I have played, no, I'm not pausing for time. I'm definitely not pausing for time. Why would you consider that I would be pausing for time? I hate my internet browser.
Are you a big Outriders fan?
Never played that one.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to.
I have a feeling there was gonna be a well, you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
No.
Let's see.
I have heard Destiny, you either love the game or you hate it. I think that even more than Borderlands is a grindy game. From what I understand. Yeah, like you could get a new weapon and it's only like 0.1% better than what you already have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, you put all that time into it only to, the return on investment
what's the game? Not Warframe, but the competitor that came out recently for Warframe. Oh no, I'm forgetting it already because it was so forgettable.
I don't even know what you're trying to think of.
It's free. It's on Steam. It's there. I have too many Steam games. I can't just go, I'll just scroll until I find it, because that'll take me about 2.5 hours.
Oh, First Descendant?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah,
First Descendant.
Cool.
That one's okay. I played it for a number of hours and decided I didn't want to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about as far as I get with looter shooters. I don't dislike the games on any level of concept or playability. They just weren't the games that I really grew up with or was coaxed into playing by other people. Because I was a Call of Duty kid, very begrudgingly, because all my friends on the Xbox had Call of Duty, so it's like, well, you got to play this now.
Yep.
What's your highest round on Kino der Toten?
Noch der Toten. It's German for Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, that was the first. I was talking about Kino.
Yeah. No, I'm
the one map.
What's yours, Andrew?
BO1 probably like in the 30s, but BO3 I think like 60 something.
Dang, that's cool.
haven't played any of the zombies past World at War.
Oh no.
Okay, it's fine. We'll have time to get you caught up before we do that episode.
Just strap me to a chair, be like, here you go. Well, don't I knife the first round and then I do the... No, and we hate you.
No, you actually want to line them up so that you can get 2 zombies in a row, shoot them 5 times, and then knife to maximize your points on round 1. But again, I'm getting way ahead of myself here by joking about that.
I feel like those aren't jokes.
No,
The strategy's not a joke. But
I'm sorry, that's just how you
even
play the game.
Yeah, like I regret even bringing it up because now that's what I want to talk about now. Yeah, I mean, talking about strategies, one of the items that I'm farming in BO3 right now is God Roll Revolter. And the Revolter has 3 different possible additional rolls it could have on it to give you other effects like absorb chance on the bullet so you take less damage, faster recharge speed. I think the community regards the triple absorb revolter as the god roll. The chances of that rolling are, I think, 1 in 11,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Haven't gotten that yet. Gotten plenty of double absorbs, but getting that third one is absolutely soul crushing.
Mm-hmm.
What's even worse is the Shreddifier farm. Do you recall what enemy drops that, Josh?
I'm blanking on it off the top of my head. I think I'm picturing the Shreddifier though. That's an SMG, right? Or no?
No,
No. It's an assault rifle,
Vlad.
right? It's the Vladoff with the spinning barrels.
Yeah. So Titan drops that at the end of one of the slaughter maps. So you have to go through 5 rounds of combat that each have 5 rounds each just to fight a boss who has a 25% chance of dropping a single Shreddifier.
Mm-hmm.
And that entire encounter takes 25 minutes. It gets worse because I want a specific version of this weapon.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not a great weapon, but it's fun and I want it.
Yeah. No,
But
I hear
each
you.
of those different roles or different parts on this weapon have just exponentially small number chances to roll. So it takes a 1 in 4 chance into like a 1 in 30,000. I've been at this farm for the past 30 hours of gameplay, and I still have not gotten the roll that I want. To break that down a bit, each run, if you do it from the start, can take 25 minutes. But if you go down or fast travel to the beginning of the arena before the final round ends, you can repeat round 5, which only then takes about 5 minutes. I ended up keeping a log because of just how obnoxious this farm became. And out of the 7 sessions in over 33.5 hours, I got over 310 runs in, and still no ×2 super Shreddifiers. And that's just this past time that I tried to farm for this, that I kept a log of it. There have been countless other attempts that I've done before this to get this item, and still, like, no luck.
I mean, that's like, I'm so conflicted on that because, like, on one hand, it's like, yeah, it would be nice if you could get it easily, but when you do get it, and when you do have it, it makes it like way more special. Like when I think of
Right.
like the Vladoff, like the Infinity Pistol, for instance, I never
Mhm.
had that in Borderlands 2. Never touched it in Borderlands 2. I knew it was in the game. I just never was lucky enough to get that drop. Borderlands 3, I think I went through like maybe 3 of them
Yeah.
with how it ended up in the loot pool. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the drop rate with like that, for instance, like changed so much and it became like a lot. It just was
Yeah.
not as big of a deal anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a big topic about BL3 in general. Like, they bumped up the drop rates for legendaries. There are some busted farms when the game first launched. I think one specific rare enemy was like a loot enemy, and it would always spawn, and it's not supposed to. So you could just get tens of legendaries a minute. That was a busted farm. They've done a little bit more rework with that towards the end of the life cycle, but they've done a ton of nerfs about halfway through BL3's life cycle. And that's what I really found frustrating, because this is a PvE game. This is not a competitive thing. Like, if a weapon is overpowered, great, let us use it. Do better at introducing the next weapon that's not overpowered. But they nerfed so much stuff. Eventually, they went back and gave everything a lot of buffs, so it evened out by the end of the life cycle. But yeah, I think what it does do really well is, if you want a specific item, it's not going to take you 30 hours to get an item. If you want a specific version of that item, however, and you really want to be particular, that's what's going to take you longer. And you don't need the specific version of that item. Like, any kind of plasma coil will shred everything in the game. You don't need a god roll. But if you want to hunt for that just for the act of farming something, go for it. I actually don't have a problem with that system. Is it frustrating? Yes, I want to pull all the rest of my hair out over this farm. But I think it is somewhat of a balanced system.
Yeah. And I'm curious, Andrew, what do you think? I don't know if they've talked about it a lot going into Borderlands 4. I know, like, I've seen some interviews with Randy Pitchford, and I feel like the general sentiment is there's a lot of confidence going into this one. He already said, like, I think total as a franchise, they've sold like 90, like, it might be like 92 million copies have been sold, and he's confident they'll break 100 million just with the launch of Borderlands 4. And he also said, too, like, I mean, with Borderlands 3, I feel like they stumbled a little bit at the launch. Like, the mechanics were definitely there from a gameplay perspective. The shooting felt pretty good. People were not a fan of the story. And
no, we need to touch on that before the end of the episode for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. But then, I mean, Randy, he's very open about it. He said, yeah, they fumbled the story, but like they typically do, they know what game they're making and they lock in on like the post-launch content. Like Borderlands 3 DLC, I think was just as great as some of the expansions that came out in 2 in the original one. So I'm just curious, what do you think they've learned from Borderlands 3? How are they applying it to 4? Are they trying to make it more like 2 in some ways? Are they adding something new to the formula? I'm just kind of curious, who are they appealing to with this one? Is it more the hardcore fans, or are they trying to make it more approachable?
Oh, this is such a loaded question. Yeah, for starters, on if Randy's right in his assessment that they're going to hit that, I'm not sure. I'm sure it probably will in its life cycle. But for me, I still haven't pre-ordered. Like, I'm pretty close to doing that. Actually, I am convinced I am going to pre-order it. But I think a lot of people were waiting. It's just the atmosphere of games these days. Like, a lot of companies have broken their promises, and you can't rely on footage that is shown off and doctored and really presented nicely to actually be the real thing when it comes 100%. Time to playing the game. They've done a ton of fan events and they let the general public go in, they let streamers go in and share a ton about the game. I do believe, from what I've seen, that this is their most polished game in terms of gameplay. The story sounds like they're really refining the comedy. Like, 3's comedy was really hit and miss. I think they said they're going to make it more in line of BL2. Story, I really hope they took the criticism of 3's story to heart. And again, from the brief snippets of stuff we've seen, I mean, it's definitely not as cringy or annoying as 3 so far.
Yeah, it definitely it seems a bit more grounded, and I think I mean, I think the biggest thing with balancing comedy is they always have these moments and beats in the story where it is just very heavy and there's a lot of weight to it. I mean, significant
Mm-hmm.
characters die all the time in these games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Die and or don't die. Like, I'm pretty sure Lilith, who was the main character in most of these games, kind of was. I think half the team was really hoping they'd kill her off. Half the team was like, no, no, let's wait. By the end of BL3, I was like, please kill her off. I'm done with her character. And she was one of my favorites in 2. Like, they butchered some of these characters in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, who they choose to focus on, like, we've already seen, like,
Oh my
Zane's making
God.
an appearance now in 4. He's,
Yep.
like, alongside Moxie in some of the gameplay I've seen. And then, like, what about, like, Axton? Like, Axton came back as a voice, I think, in Borderlands 3.
Only a voice.
Yeah, with Salvatore too. Like, I'd like to see like some of those like original characters remake an appearance. Like Axton's a voice, but yet like Krieg has his own DLC.
I mean, they knew what they were doing. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the highest selling individual DLC from that game. Before we go any closer, I have a thought that I keep forgetting, and it was something that you mentioned, that they knock it out of the park with their DLCs. Tiny Tina's Wonderland absolutely did not do that. It was basically the end game content repackaged 4 separate times. That was infuriating.
That I haven't. I told you like at the beginning of this. Like, there's 2 games I haven't beaten. It's the original one, and it's Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Like, I'm trying. I actually started playing it again recently too. I'm really trying to beat it before 4 comes out. But I don't know. It's tough when with even like the mold of the characters aren't as interesting because you're building your own character from scratch, and it's really just audio provided by the people playing the game. And then the fantasy angle too, the weapons don't handle anything like the guns in Borderlands 3. I mean, one of my guns right now is a literal crossbow.
Like, yeah, these are projectiles and not hit scan weapons. So it's. I think the story was okay. The gameplay was fine, but I think it was way too complex in the gear system, because you had 6 to 7 classes, and then you could multi-class as well. So if you're looking for a specific, again, that specific item farm, I didn't even try to get any roles that I wanted to, because again, their loot system in that game was changed to where you got stuff based on your overall loot luck, and there were hardly any dedicated drops. Another discussion for another time, but yeah, I think Wonderlands was definitely a miss, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the one redeeming thing about it, I felt like the story was a bit more dialed in than 3 in some ways. But
yeah, and
I think that's even controversial.
Also like the performances as well. Like, you have Will Arnett as the main villain, Andy Samberg as one of the side characters as well.
Wanda Sykes too.
Yeah, she was there. Speaking of characters, how do you feel about Ava?
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, I was always like, when I played the game, I thought she was fine. I mean, I guess a little annoying. It was like one of those things where you go on the internet, like you go on Reddit, and then you kind of realize like, oh, like all these people like absolutely hate this character. I don't know. I think so. I mean, her character is so like tied in with Maya's character and how she's handled in Borderlands 3, and I think her death was really shocking. I mean, not spoiler alert. I don't know if we can talk spoilers.
But we're 50 minutes into the episode at this point. If they're still here, they already know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Right on.
We have anybody who doesn't love the series, even I know about that, and I haven't played 3.
Yeah, like I remember, like it hit, and it was good. It was pretty surprising. But then there's always like that part of you in the back, like the back of my mind was like, are they just trying to do what they did with Roland in 2 again? Like,
exactly. That's exactly what it felt like. And during the main story, I couldn't stand Ava. she's like this 13-year-old who knows everything, can't do anything wrong, so full of herself, or so sure of herself.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's literally handed command of the fucking ship at the end. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even have her driver's license. I will
Flash,
say...
take the controls. Does anyone ask if I know how?
Right. I will say the final DLC 6 with her podcast thing, I did think that did a pretty good job at redeeming her. Like, I'm not opposed to her showing back up in 4 if they do that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think I think it'd be fine if they brought her back. I'm always like, I'm so curious how the writing gets impacted by like the production deadlines they have to hit before launch too.
Mm,
Because it seems like once the game's out and Gearbox has some time to breathe, like the follow-up content's always been very strong. Like that's the one franchise where I will go back and play through all the DLC because I just know like the quality's there.
yeah, like the DLC has some of my favorite content. Like Bounty of Blood DLC 3 is my favorite piece of content in that game because I love the setting, I love the story. Yeah, some of the weapons that it introduces too are great.
Yeah, like I think for me, like the one that I always think of is Borderlands 2 Captain Scarlet and the Pirates Booty DLC. Was like
Mm-hmm.
just awesome. You know, completely different like vibe and aesthetic. They kind of, you know, they're vaguely
Yeah.
pulling from Star Wars with like this her ship kind of being like Jabba's barge and then some of the speeders that you went around with in the sand, but I always like how they have like very clear visual identities to all the DLCs and really like tight,
Yes.
refined stories that focus on like a core cast of characters that you come to understand and have a good idea of their motives, I think, throughout it. I think they're just very well done every time. They have a really good formula that works.
And I think part of that is it's DLC, so it's obviously a condensed story. You're not going to get a full length game out of it. They don't have to stretch out all their development that they want to do over like 20 plus hours. It can fit into 6, so you don't have to keep going back and talking to Lilith, talk to Lilith, talk to Lilith. You don't have those things that they're forced to put in to what feels like padding the runtime almost. So they are able to tell a much more concise and a better story.
Mm-hmm.
We are really running up the time a lot more than I thought we were going to be able to do.
There's a lot of good discussion to have here. That's the good part.
Yeah, I think I want to stay away from gameplay because if I get, as you've heard at the beginning, if I get going on gameplay, I'm just going to be like talking about how it works.
Yeah.
The Siren lore trivia, we said there are 6. That's not true anymore. At the end of
What?
BL3, they hinted that there's a 7th siren. But how sirens work, I'm not sure if any of you are aware, but there can only be 6 in the universe at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I think for the first few games, we've had Lilith, Angel, Maya. Those were constant sirens. Then some of them died off, and then you have Amara. Tannis decides to become a siren somehow. I still don't like how they did that. Ava decides to become a siren. And then one of the twins takes Maya's powers. So
Yes.
Oh, and Lilith. So that's kind of not 100% true sirens, but it's really, I don't know if they've fleshed it out enough, and if they have, they definitely haven't let the audience know how that system works. Because it just feels very like coincidental. Like, oh, we're playing as another siren in this game, but every time they introduce a new one, it's like, all right, well, we're at 5, we're at 6 now. Like, you can't introduce any more. And if they're supposed to be galaxy wide, why are they all right here?
Mm-hmm.
But have you played as? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say
Go
they
ahead.
kind of, in a lot of ways, they kind of have written themselves into a corner with building the franchise, building the lore, and then trying to keep track of, you know, who's still alive, who's not. Yeah, and then the power is shifting back and forth too.
Oh, with every new game, one of the manufacturers has to be the bad guy. Like that's not a huge fan of that. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, speaking of this new game, kind of coincidentally, the final main Vault Hunter was revealed today in her skill tree. And for the first time ever, I don't know who I'm going to play first. Like
Mm-hmm.
before, it was very much like, oh yeah, I'm going to play as Sal because he can gun Zerk and use two weapons at the same time, obviously.
Yep.
BL3, yeah, I'm going to play as Mose because she can have a ton of ammo and shoot her guns fast. And get in a mech, obviously. This one, there are lots of great choices. Like you have your stereotypical Siren. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Amon looks like he can do a Darth Maul thing and throw his axe and sword together and it
Yeah,
spins, so that's kind of cool.
I think that's funny
Um,
because I'm like having the opposite of you, Andrew, actually, where I saw the characters and immediately I was like Amon, and then I learned he was called the Forge Knight, and I was like, boom, like I'm playing as that guy. That's my guy. And I knew that before like the character trailers and stuff came out. Like I just knew right away, like that's the character I wanted to play this time around.
I would probably have chosen him as well, but they revealed Harlow today, and she has an inherent Ties That Bind skill. Ties That Bind was one of Amara's action skill modifications to where if you phase grasp an enemy, which is like capture an enemy in a bubble, you can capture multiple enemies. You damage one of the enemies, and Ties That Bind distributes that damage to all the enemies. It
Mm-hmm.
seems like Harlow's going to have that inherently, and you don't need to spec anything for it. So I'm actually probably considering uh, playing her first, just to see how much that uh, is overpowered, because the skill tree was also revealed, and it looks like she's going to be one of the most overpowered characters we've ever had to play or gotten to play as.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think
we are
what's the term
sorry. Go
for
ahead.
her class? It's like Technomancer is what they're calling her, or
Yeah,
Gravatar.
yeah, that's it, the Gravatar, which I don't know. When she was first revealed, when the whole thing was first revealed, I'm like, oh, I'm not interested in that. That looks weird. You're just shooting bubbles all around. Well, now that we know what the bubbles do,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit more interested.
It's a good point. I'm excited to see her character like background trailer come out. I think all the marketing leading up to this release has been awesome. Like I've
Yes.
been talking with my brothers like at least once a week. Whenever they release something, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I don't think they've done this much character development post pre-launch for 3, because I think it was just the 2 main trailers and some like breakdown of the technical stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember anything like this too. And I do know when it got revealed, I remember seeing comments online about people saying the Vault Hunters look generic and they weren't really that interested in them. And now, I
I
mean,
felt
this
that way
close to
too.
launch, I think it's quite the opposite. I think
Yeah.
I think they're pretty cool characters.
Yeah. Did you hear the theory that Harlow is going to be a Traunt?
No, that's news to me.
Yeah. So again, if you're this far into the episode and aren't a Borderlands fan, uh, Captain Traunt was an enemy that showed up about a third of the way into BL3. He was the boss at the end of a long section on a single planet. And then I guess his brother was a general. He shows up, I think, before like 2 missions before the final mission in BL3. And there was another raid boss, also called Traunt, in that family, introduced later on. People were kind of theorizing that she was also going to be a Traunt, and I had no idea where they were getting any of this information from. But the skill tree was introduced today, and you know how weapons have like red flavor text if they're unique, like it'll have a quote or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
One of her skills in the skill tree just says Traunt at the bottom.
Oh,
Hmm.
I
So
believe it honestly. I mean, they did that with Zane. Zane's one of the Flint family. Like
yeah,
I think that's just one of those uniquely Borderlands things that they'll do where they have like these intergalactic families.
yeah, and then one of my favorite things they've done with the Vault Hunter is Wilhelm. Like you kill this robot in the beginning, well not the beginning, but early on in
Yeah.
BL2 called Wilhelm. And then the pre-sequel you play as him as when he's still a person before Jack mods him and does all that stuff to him. I thought that was really interesting too.
Oh, it was super. Yeah, you go back and you see his character, and then as you play through the game and you level up his skill
Yes.
tree, he starts to look more and more robotic, which
Yes.
super clever, especially for a character who almost just kind of felt like a one-off. Like I remember the first time like fighting him, it's like Wilhelm, like who's this guy? And then that's it.
Yeah, and everyone makes these comments like, "Oh wow, you took down Wilhelm. No way." And you're like, "Are we supposed to know who this guy is?" Like,
hmm
no, but the other characters do.
Yeah, they
Uh,
always do like a very good job of like fleshing out characters in subsequent entries. I mean, even like the original Vault Hunter cast, like I mean in Borderlands
yeah,
1, it was just like quips when they're shooting their guns, and then Borderlands 2, you have the Mordecai and like Bloodwing arc, and then Roland's
yep,
whole character arc. Like they make them like a lot more. There's just so much more depth that comes with time.
yeah. Unless you're Axton and Sal and have to be announcers in that game, but
Yeah,
oh well.
that they're just like Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. Leading into this next point, during the announcement period for BL4, they made some um, designers insight video, and they said that anyone in the company can actually submit an idea or a design for a Vault Hunter and a play style. I thought that was pretty cool that they were able to do that.
hmm
What kind of a Vault Hunter would you like to see in the future? We've got two more Vault Hunters that have yet to be revealed. Those are going to be coming in the post-launch season of BL4. But what are you kind of hoping that the next one's going to look like?
Well, that's a loaded question. I did
It is like I want
yeah.
action skills, skill trees, look, design, story, everything right here, right now in the next 10 seconds.
Well, I mean with the new ones based on like the character backgrounds, like I mean Axton was the first character I ever played as in Borderlands, and that's cuz he just came across as like generic shoot soldier.
Yeah.
Like that's like I'm pretty boring in that sense. Like that's I don't know, I always think that's fun whenever I'm playing a shooter game, I'll try and use the M4, which is like the most copied gun across like all
Yep.
video games. I don't know. I think I don't know, like an out of the box idea. I would want to pitch like a Vault Hunter character who would almost be like a Borderlands equivalent of like Batman, where it's this super
Ooh.
tech billionaire tycoon who's living this Vault Hunter fantasy, but maybe he runs like one of the major corporations. Like maybe he's like the CEO of like Doll or something like that. And it's just like this guy who has access to all these resources, and that's what
Yeah.
his power is, just money and resources and trying to spend for this Vault Hunter fantasy. I think that could be
So
kind of
like
funny.
so a less cowardly Reese from
Yeah,
Atlas.
it's a good yeah, literally. Maybe
You can
also
only
voiced by
use
Troy Baker.
Yeah, you can only use the Night Flyer pistol. Uh, do you know that one?
I actually don't know that one.
So that one you get um, from enemy in the big open map where you drive around Carnivora
Okay.
on Pandora. He's like in a cave, and you kill him, and it's I think it's a doll pistol. It does a ton of damage, but it can't kill anything. It takes every enemy
Oh.
down to 1 hit point because it's supposed to be a reference to Batman's like no killing rule.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I keep forgetting to bring up just how many references to pop culture stuff there is throughout all of these games.
Oh my gosh.
Like if there's a reference to Minecraft in BL2, there's a Tommy Wiseau character in a side quest in BL3. A ton of Star Wars references. Like if you have any favorite pop culture icon, they're mentioned in the game somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy with a mic. Do you have any
Yes.
idea that you'd like to pitch for a Vault Hunter?
Yes. So we mentioned pop culture. It is no secret to our illustrious fans, and probably you as well, that I am a Sylvanas Windrunner simp. I would like to find a vault, and this may already exist. I have not played all of the games, so hit me with a ban hammer if it already exists.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
But listen to me here. Dark, brooding character who doesn't care so much about finding the vault itself, but the idea of it contempts them to the point where they go do it just to prove that they can and others can't. The main gimmick is either a pseudo form of necromancy. I know, doesn't one of the sirens have mind control in one of the earlier iterations? Or am I thinking of a different game entirely?
I mean, I wouldn't call it mind control. Like, I know Maya can, like, phase lock people and make sure they don't move, but I don't think that's mind control.
Yeah, Angel's
So-
like in your mind in Borderlands too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would go with, think of it, call it the Banshee Queen. Dark, brooding aesthetic, has a favor for, I would say, long-range weaponry, so maybe like a perk to the sniper class, a lot of sniper perk trees. And then maybe a quick melee tree as well, just for up close and personal to kind of close, to have a gap closer, making their weakness being their mid-range.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore finding getting a god roll on a mid-range gun could completely change how that class can be, utilized.
Oh, yeah.
And then your main focus is taking out targets from a long distance, using an ability to raise them up and cause more chaos, and they're your close distance fighters / your mid range, while you're able to either pick shots off from a distance with your long range capabilities, or you're a quick run in dash melee, get a couple of kills, retreat, and let your newfound summons be your distraction while you go take care of either bigger enemies, you overwhelm larger foes, or simply maybe it'll be an ability, maybe it's a type of gun you get, maybe your melee weapon is the mind control, but for a certain period of time, and it can be up with skill trees, talent points, when you're able to use a quick, like your quick little dagger, we'll call it your melee weapon, for a short amount of time, depending on the enemy's level and your skills, it can let them fight for you for a short time. I mean, bosses being excluded, obviously, but
As they almost always are.
right. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
clever.
Sort of a...
I really like both of those ideas. Mine, I'm not as creative on the fly like that, I don't think. My thought was have like an overclock ability where as your action skill goes on, which is just increasing your fire rate, critical hit damage, all that stuff of your weapons, basically you turn into Moe's for however long your action skill is. That's as much thought as I put into mine. I like your ideas much better.
As the only author here, I have to be able to come up with things on the fly.
Well, we are at time. Is there anything you really wanted to bring up and talk about, Josh?
No, we about covered everything that I could.
All right, and I know this is your favorite franchise, Some Guy with a Mic. So, what did I miss out that you wanted to talk
Here's
about?
something you missed.
Mm-hmm.
How much money has the Borderlands franchise currently, at last time of last quarterly report, how much cumulatively has the Borderlands franchise made for Gearbox? Do you know?
Ooh.
Give me. I have the answer. The question is, do you?
I want to really highball this thing and say over $1 billion.
Yeah,
Just
Okay.
like the
I
amount
would-
of guns in Borderlands 3, $1 billion.
yeah, because I know that.
$1 for every gun.
I mean, Randy Pitchford just confirmed they sold over 90 million copies so far, leading up to the release, like cumulative. So yeah, I would say probably just over $1 billion's safe with those numbers.
You are correct. 1.1 billion was the last quarterly report for
Wow.
all the games combined, which is an absolute monument of a single franchise making you that kind of money over that time span and not dying off completely is astounding.
Yeah, I mean, from 2009, they've had, this is going to be their fifth main entry. Tiny Tina is 6, and then 2 Tales games. So that's 9 games in 16 years and $1 billion.
Right around there.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That's a very respectable.
Yeah,
All right,
I
hit
would
me
be
with a.
happy with that.
Sorry, what?
I would just say I would be happy with that.
Yeah, I'll take that. All right, hit us with the BL3 question, because that was my main game.
Yeah, obviously a BL. Of course I have a BL3 question ready for you. Yeah, I'm just looking over my notes right now.
Yeah. Andrew, I got a
Let's
quick
see.
question for you on Borderlands 3. More personal
Mm-hmm.
question. So I said I played Flak. You said you knew I played
Mm-hmm.
Flak. Why did I play Flak?
Because of the voice actor. Is it ProZD? Is that his name?
Yep. Yeah, ProZD Sun One Cho is the voice actor for Flak, and my wife loves his YouTube videos.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was so funny when I found that out. I'm like, oh, that's actually him. That's great.
Yeah, he does such a good job. I mean, he's so talented. One of those people where if you saw him in real life, you'd never know like the types of characters
No.
he voices and plays, and he does a brilliant job. He's great.
Yeah, he's pretty versatile though. Like from the amount of stuff, the non-Borderlands stuff I've seen of him, he doesn't just have the one voice. He does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's done a lot. I think a lot of animation, anime, video games. Yeah, quite a bit. Quite a wild filmography. Did I buy you enough time, Cam?
You did. I found my notes.
Okay, cool.
So, you know Wotan, right?
The Invincible? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what's engraved on his brain?
Oh, God. I never focus on reading it. I just focus on shooting it.
What's engraved on it?
Property
on,
of
expert.
Malawan?
Okay, that's a good guess. That's actually a very good guess. Josh, you have a guess?
Ooh, I have no idea. I'm gonna guess like a heart tattoo that says "mom."
Oh, also close. It's 80085, aka boobs.
Okay.
That's
Speaking of my final question for you guys, do you think they're ever gonna kill off Moxie?
Do
No.
they want to keep selling games?
Exactly. All right. Well, thank you both for putting up with my rambling in places and for a great conversation. That's about the end of the episode. Thank you all for listening and making it this far. If you have any questions about Borderlands, you can reach out to us at tworaccoonspodcast@gmail.com. That's 2 C's, 2 O's, no spaces.
I got no closing.
All right, I guess that's it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Wait, hold on. Before we go, everyone, stop pulling the curtain down. Josh, do you have anything you want to plug? Do you stream? Do you YouTube? Do you anything?
I got a YouTube channel, Josh and Dom. It's a lot of sketch comedy. It's not really gaming related, but that if you want to find me doing weird stuff on the internet, that is the place to go. Josh and
Perfect.
Dom.
If you want to send us a link to your stuff, we'll put it in the show notes.
I've got it. I can send it to you.
Perfect. Our editor will send it to me, and I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, I never knew Oskavoska was a real place until your documentary that you posted. So thank you for that educational bit.
You know, we just wanted to take our viewers through the Iron Curtain.
All right. That's it for us. Thank you all for joining. We'll see you next time. And remember, if it took more than one shot, you weren't using a Jacobs.
Stay trashy.
My God.